Back in December 2024, I picked up my 1992 MR2 Turbo and it was a complete wreck. Today I'm going to show over how I spent a fair amount of money transforming this car into what it is today. I go over all the new modifications I have done to the car and exactly how I have fixed it, because this car was shambolic when I first bought it. £6,000 is a lot of money to spend on modifications for a car. Most people spend £6,000 on a whole entire car, whereas me, I have spent that money building this car into what it is today. Now, back in 2024, December, when I did pick up this car, it was very neglected. It had been sat there, left to rot, to feel sorry for itself. I have then took on the job of bringing this car back to its former glory and making it into a pretty wild animal. Now, this £6,000 is actually probably a lot more than that because of everything I'd done prior to December. So between December 24 and 25, that's all completely separate. I'm on about December 25 to February 26, where we am right now. Not all these mods are performance mods, and not all these mods are fixing the car either. A lot of this stuff is just for my own sake, pretty much. But without further ado, let's get in. I'm going to show you all these mods and you lot can decide if it was money well spent, let's say. So for the first £1,000, I had decided to spend that money all on these AEM X series, I think, digital gauges for this car. I think they're amazing. They look cool as anything. We've got oil pressure at the top, boost in the middle, and oil temp at the bottom. Now, the reason this one's wonky, I'll tell you in a second, but pretty much all this does is just give you a very accurate reading of what you want from your car. Oil pressure, you want it to be around the 1 to 2s, pretty much. Boost, see how much boost you're obviously running, and then oil temp. When this car is up to temperature, you then know it's okay to give it some to boot it, because this car, although it has a water temperature gauge there, it's not very accurate. Whereas this one there clearly tells me my oil temp is 81 degrees. I ordered all these gauges from Tegawa up in Stoke-on-Trent. They're my Honda specialist, but obviously these gauges you could put in your Nissan Micra if you wanted to, or, you know, your Citroen C2, C3 thing over there. Now, these aren't backlit, unfortunately, but however, when you're driving at night and you know which one's where, it doesn't really matter too much. You know your oil temp's going to be at the bottom, your boost is there obviously, and then your oil pressure gauge is there. So it's all, it doesn't matter too much that it's not backlit. It's not like it's an analog clock, because they all obviously have to be backlit, otherwise they're just pointless pretty much. This flock I ordered from a place, I'm not going to give them a shout out, and I also don't want to badmouth them, but the fitment is actually terrible. That's why this here kind of catches on there. We've had to basically cut, I don't know if you can see, we've basically had to cut the bottom so it would fit, and you can't then turn the oil temperature on so it's straight, but pretty much it goes all the way down there and then all the way up to the T-bar as well. The guy that I did buy them from, he does buy the original things, but obviously this is now good to me because this here, it's just too far down below. Don't know if he's had issues with that before, but it's just overall not great. The flock cost me about £150. You can get them to go in the vent there, but just for the old Japanese look, tripods there, the coolest thing ever in a Jap car, I think personally. This then moves on to the second way I've used to spend this money, and this mod isn't, it's a cool mod, and it's also a mod I believe you should have in your cars because it's quite important. This came all the way from Australia, brand spanking new. Is a Greddy turbo timer down there. So pretty much once you've done driving, you set the time to whatever you fancy, or whether you want P1 or P2. This is the different modes. So P2 is for 3 minutes for some reason. You're never going to do it for 3 minutes unless if you drove 3 or 4 hours. And pretty much once you pulled up, you just take the key out and the car will still run. Luckily enough for me, I have a kill switch in the car. I'm not going to say where it is on the video, but pretty much if I do something, it shuts it off anyway. so you can't actually drive off. The whole idea of a turbo timer is with turbocharged cars, once you've been driving a bit, even though your oil temperature is saying it's 84 degrees, inside them oil pipes going towards your turbo and your water pipes, them a lot hotter than that. And then when you just pull up and turn the car off, they just all sit there. You've got like 500 degrees oil sat there baking away inside your turbo. What's not good at all. So essentially a turbo timer is it just allows the engine to cool down, let that oil and water go through, cooling itself down with the fans on as well. It's a great way to take care of your car. You are meant to let them warm up and cool down properly. Don't know if anyone plays sports or not, and especially football, but when you play football, you're meant to warm up properly and properly cool down afterwards to avoid cramp. Same with this car, let it cool down properly, avoid problems. That could easily be avoided as well. But that is pretty much all the modification from the interior. So my gauges, these gauges, funnily enough, took a month to get from Stoke-on-Trent to the West Midlands, like the middle of West Midlands. What's the joke? This turbo timer came from Australia, Sydney. I bought it on the Friday. It was delivered to my work on the Wednesday, and Australia is over 24 hours away as well. So one day that was actually travelling, what is absolutely crazy. So this turbo timer here was 500 Australian dollars, what equates to about 250 quid roughly. Great way to spend your money. These are really rare as it is. These are really rare as it is, and the fact it was brand new, sealed inside the box with the Japanese writing on. This has came from Japan to Australia to England. Is pretty cool. Now, I wanted Grady to match the Grady Profit B manual boost controller I got there. Ideally, it's the best manual one. People said it was electric the other day. Yes, it's electric. The Apexi ones with the boost, with the digital screen, I call them electric ones. I call these manual ones, even though they're still considered electric. Someone called me out on it last video. I know what it is. That's the way I think of it. But yeah, that's all the interior mods. Now to get onto the exterior mods, where I actually have recorded myself also changing. So then, moving on to the next great bit of money I've spent, it is on these MR2 Heaven intercooler piping kits. They're stainless steel and they sound absolutely amazing. I have blanked off the Bob and I need to replace it with the Grady one I have to make it sound a bit better. Essentially, this was about 450 quid, I believe, for everything, and the difference it does make is amazing with the sounds. Yes, they run a bit hotter than a normal. The normal, I don't even know what material I am, to be honest, but the sound these give off is so much nicer than the original ones, I think, personally. There's not too much to say about these. It's just strictly for sound. Definitely worth it, in my opinion. If you have a spare bit of change lying about, go and buy them. There was on sale over Christmas. That's when I did pick them up, and they take about an hour to fit. It took me about 45 minutes to fit, to be honest. I'm a bit fidgety. They go all the way down to the intercooler, obviously, and then the other one down there. Not very long to fit. The difference is amazing. There was a sale. They didn't take too long to come either, all the way from America. I think they took about a week to get here. Well, again, it's great. To get in from America to England is the easy bit, but for some reason, Royal Mail and British delivery systems, diabolical, to be fair. And then we move on to the good one, the Burke system. Now this again was all the way from America. It was about £900. And obviously I can't show too much here, strictly because, you know, I'm not getting dirty. But however, I did record, that I'll show you in a second, of me changing this whole system. Me and my dad jumped on it. It took about half an hour to replace the back box and the middle resonator that you'll see in a second.
That one's probably I've got it for now. I'll look this side. I'll go this side. Okay, this way.
sounds great, it's quiet. When you open them up, that's when they get a bit loud, but when you're driving normally, it sounds absolutely beautiful. You can talk. It's just so much more quiet than the horrible Japspeed one I had on. I hate Japspeed with all my heart, I think. It is cheap, it is loud, it doesn't sound great. I just could not ever recommend having a Japspeed exhaust. I heard a lot before saying them really loud, and at first I think, oh, loud car, cool, whatever. Drive it for a little bit, it's annoying, believe me. People like Japspeed because it's very cheap and it makes a massive difference straight away off the bat. I get why people buy it, but I'd rather pay the extra and have a nice exhaust. So it was either between a Burke or a Blitz and Urspec.
Oh, I'm out of breath.
The Blitz was apparently very loud. I've never heard one in person. I'm just going on about what I've heard about. And Burke, the exact word the guy said to me was, with a Burke exhaust, you can have a conversation with somebody when you're driving normally. And when you open it up, they sound meaty. And he was bang on the money. It sounds as evil. So I'm very happy with that, with the whole purchase. The Blitz exhaust was about £900. So far we're up to about 2.5-ish, I believe, off the top of my head. So we've still got a bit more money to go. Moving on to the fourth mod I'd installed over Christmas. Moving on to the fourth modification, I installed a Mines ECU. I'm going to put on a video in a second of me replacing it, or sorry, taking it off. Mines ECU I paid £450 for off the previous owner of my MR2 Turbo, so it's pretty cool. With my Scirocco, you can plug into the OBD port with a auto tuner or Kes, send the file off to some guy in a lab. He will give you a file back with more power. This car isn't as clever. It only has an OBD1. Modern cars use OBD2, European Onboard Diagnostics. So you can't simply just tune these ECUs. Mines, people, basically with Blitz, Mines, or them people, they take a normal Rev 2 ECU and they'll just tamper with it inside, therefore giving you more boost, raising the fuel cut, raising the limiter. And there's a couple other things as well. This car, you could definitely feel the difference with an aftermarket ECU on it. It is night and day difference in my opinion. I felt the difference straight away. It's definitely a very good mod. Mines and Blitz and some other brands, they're a lot more expensive than £450. I just got a good deal because it was off the previous owner. If you can even find one for sale, they're asking probably double that maybe. I've never actually saw another Mines ECU for sale. Saw a Blitz for about £700 before, but that's the sort of territory you're getting into. And then if you want to go with a Haltech one or a Link G4X or whatever it is, you're over £1,000 for the ECU alone, and you got to find someone to map it in for you as well. So it's just a massive thing with mapping these cars and getting more power out of them. But it's definitely worth it if you can get a good deal on them, I think personally. So the remaining way I used the £6,000 budget was an entire engine rebuild. Now, this was always the bad point of this car for me. Even though the bodywork's a little bit shabby, it's a bit rubbish, I don't care as much as having a good engine. Pretty much like having a good heart. The car's engine is a heart. It was absolutely destroyed, pretty much. The turbo didn't work, it had oil leaks everywhere, it had water leaks, the differential was absolutely gone. So I replaced it with an LSD. An LST diff is about £900 to buy for these cars. I got one on a deal for a lot cheaper than that, but we'll use the retail price for example. £900 for the diff. I paid £350 for a guy to fit the diff, and he had the box for 3 weeks as well. He cleaned it off for me, the gearbox. He'd done all the seals on it, so that was all good. My gearbox doesn't leak, and I've not got a noisy diff. Moving on to the engine side, as I said, turbo didn't work. Piston rings were gone. The shelves was a bit shabby. Oil leaks, water leaks, everything wrong with an engine that could have been wrong, I had wrong with mine. So I'll put some pictures up on the screen now. I had new pistons, rings, shells, rods. The crank was still the same. I had the block skimmed. I had to buy new heads because I broke 3 studs in the old head taken off the turbo the first time. So I had to have a new cylinder head. Sent the cylinder head to have new valves, to be skimmed, to be tested, everything. Brand new MLS gasket, multi-layer steel gaskets. All new injector seals. New cam belt, new water pump. I actually think it would be quicker saying what this engine hasn't had done than what I have done to it. It has had absolutely everything done to it. New manifold gaskets, new throttle body gaskets, new intercooler piping, new clutch. The flywheel still the same. So the flywheel and the crank are the only thing that I didn't mess with because they was both good. New dizzy, new plugs. The ignition leads are still the same as well. You get the point. This engine has absolutely everything. I've got all the invoices from when I ordered the parts and pictures and some clips of me rebuilding it as well. What hopefully will aid this when I do eventually come to sell it in a couple of years' times, and hopefully they've gone up a bit more in price. Now the engine rebuild with the diff, the gaskets and everything was way over £4,000 because I had to send the head and the block off. So the only things I didn't do was obviously machine the head, machine the block and put the pistons, rings and the shells in. That was all done for me at the engine shop. Everything else I had done myself, dropped the engine, you know, installed all the gaskets, installed all the new seals, because that was the other one. It's just been an absolute mission with this car. You compare this car from December 24 to February 26, what's now. The exterior doesn't look too much different. In fact, it probably looks the exact same. But internally and the interior and everything else just looks completely different, and it's great. It runs great. It's evil. You saw the clip at the beginning of the video. It's very fast. It's got everything I wanted besides from a good body. Now, it doesn't need welding, this car. It doesn't need anything, really. Just paintwork now. And that's the last final step of this car before I could finally start enjoying it. And this black T-bar that I do have, I just generally can't be bothered. I just can't be bothered to install it because it's a long job, I think, off the top of my head. But nevertheless, this is the first video of 2026 I've done. I've been challenging between all these cars because there's another car that I need to bring to the channel that you'll see soon, and the ST as well. The ST is at this point, the ST at this point is pretty much done, so if you are waiting to see another video on that, coming very soon. There's another car, can't say what it is yet, that will come after the ST because that's a whole trading up series that I'm trying to do. But yeah, if you do enjoy the MR2 videos, then obviously please hit the like and subscribe as it means a lot to me, and I'll catch you all next time.